Well, it started 8 years ago. Pastor Scott Gamble had a friend in Charleston that had a coastal community church, and they did an Easter egg drop from a helicopter. And he wanted to see about doing the same thing here. We contacted numerous places looking for a helicopter and couldn't find one that we could afford. So we were kind of at a standstill and thought we were going to have to give up on it. Then somebody suggested the skydivers. We called them, and George Capitanio at Air Indiana has always been great to us. And when we first called him, he was like, "You want what?" So we explained what we were doing, and he said, "Well, let me get back to you." And he called us back, and he said, "I think we can do it." So they showed up the first time, picked up as many eggs as they thought they could take, and like I said, they probably dropped 2,000 eggs the first year, and it was great. Probably the only reason they jumped was because it was for the kids, and see those kids smile when they hit the ground, I think makes it worthwhile for them. I don't think anybody expected what it turned out to be. I mean, we expected maybe a couple hundred people at the most. I mean, that was a pretty optimistic view. We'd had Easter egg hunts at the church in the past, and they'd been anywhere from 20 to 50 people probably. We did it the first year, we had around 8,000 Easter eggs, and we probably had 500 to 1,000 people. It was very overwhelming. But now it's neat to see that Oakbrook has started one in Kokomo, so that now you're hitting a whole other community. We came over Saturday morning and watched theirs before we went over and set up for ours. So I mean, it was really neat to see how they did it. The stadium was a really neat place to have it. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into making it run smoothly. My kids have grown up in it, from being part of it to volunteering in it. My son's gone from being part of it to being the Easter Bunny in it, so it's been a neat experience for my family. My mom is pretty much in charge of the eggs. They've already bought 9,000 eggs on clearance this year, getting ready for next year. They've helped clean them, they've helped get volunteers to do it. It's for us, it's pretty much a family event.
Well, it was about a year ago where we merged with a church in a rural area, and they had this tradition in their church and in their community to where they had this thing called an egg drop, to where they had people, skydivers, jump out of planes and drop, thousands of eggs onto a football field at the biggest school in that area. And so we thought that was such an incredible thing. I mean, churches do a really good job at inviting people to come to their facility to engage in experiences, but a lot of times churches don't do a great job of going out and inviting others to, or going out and just being with other people and going to the people you're trying to reach. And so we thought this was such a cool idea. We started dreaming and scheming and praying about the different ways that it could come to life in our community. And in the year before that summer, we had just opened up the Kokomo Municipal Stadium, this awesome baseball stadium, a minor league stadium. And we just kept thinking, oh, what if we had skydivers jump out of planes and drop thousands of eggs onto Kokomo Municipal Stadium? This could be like the coolest thing. We make it a free event. We'd add a lot of hype to it. Little did we know we didn't really have to add too much hype, because people were just jazzed about the idea and they were amped up about it. And so we just sort of went off to the races with, hey, we have this idea, people are excited about it, how in the world are we going to actually do it? So our biggest obstacle as we got going, just planning the very first egg drop, was how in the world are we going to get 20,000 plastic eggs filled with candy? What's the best way to do this? And so when we announced it to our church on a Sunday morning, we just had large clear trash bags sort of saying, hey, take these bags of eggs home with you, fill them with your family, your small group, your Bible study, whoever you hang out with throughout the week. So we just challenged people to do that, and to our surprise, that very first Sunday, every single one of those bags were taken, and they were all returned in 2 weeks, filled with really good candy, and they were taped closed so if they fell from a plane, it wasn't going to explode all over the place. And our church was just all right behind us, ready to go in it. And one of the cool deals with this event is that our church got to partner with the government, with the city government, and we partnered with the city of Kokomo. And they lined us up with a press release that was released statewide. I had multiple radio interviews, and we had a couple articles in the local newspapers. And the craziest thing, probably the thing that brought the most media hype, was just our Facebook event. I mean, the emergence of social media has really changed so much. We were shared over like 15,000 times our event online, to which we were almost getting nervous, like, what in the world are we going to do? There's going to be so many more people here than we're expecting, which I guess was a good problem to have. We woke up the morning of the event and I was just watching the weather, but we sort of just got to the point of no return where we're like, it's going to be like 36 to 38 degrees. We're just going to roll with it. And we just went forward with the event. And myself and about 80 volunteers arrived at the stadium 2.5 hours before registration began, and we started setting things up, and we thought we were just ready to go, and then it was like an hour before registration was even supposed to begin, and people just started lining up. And this continued all the way up until registration, to where it was like crazy lines going down the streets, sometimes blocking traffic, to where we were thinking, what in the world have we done at this point? Which was a crazy moment. And we got into registration going, things were going smooth, it just was going so slow. We were about 30 minutes away from the actual drop, and there were still probably 2,000 people in line to get inside. And so the mayor of Kokomo got on the phone and he's like, hey, you guys need to stop with the waiver. He gave us the okay, rip up the waiver, you guys just come on in, we need to get all these people into the stadium for the event.
We showed up and there was lines around the block, and it was just neat to see. I think it's overwhelming for somebody who has never done it, to see that turnout.
And then all of a sudden we looked to the sky and there were just skydivers literally jumping out of planes with massive bags. And as they were dropping in, what was crazy was just the cheers of the kids and the families. It was such a cool thing. We had like epic music like blaring from the PA, and so it was just a really cool moment as they were just sort of landing on the field and they were dropping a ton of Easter eggs onto the field. Kids went crazy. And what I was planning to be about 20 minutes of the egg hunt ended up taking about 32 seconds, to where all the people there were estimating around 4,500 people, and all the kids there took over 20,000 Easter eggs, and the event was over just like that.